It's a pleasure to be here. In this presentation, I am going to talk about the ISTP Spain experience in the reporting and learning of medication errors. First, I will explain the basic characteristic of our reporting system, and after I will describe in particular the collaboration that we maintain with the Spanish Medication Agency and the Spanish Pharmacovigilance System. Finally, I will explain briefly the collaboration that we maintain at an international level throughout the International Medication Safety Network. With this slide, I want to introduce very shortly the ISTP Spain, called in Spanish Instituto para el Uso Seguro de los Medicamentos, is an independent non-profit organization that was established in Salamanca in 1999 as the Spanish delegation of the Institute for Safe Medication Practices. Our activities are centered in the education about medication safety, collection and active learning from errors, development and dissemination of safe medication practices, and research projects, always working in collaboration with institutions, professional societies, organizations, and of course, governmental agencies. Since its creation, ISTP Spain has promoted the implementation of medication error reporting system both at local level and at national level. Because as the leader of our parent organization, Michael Cohen, we think that reporting is absolutely essential. We think that a local level reporting is a key element for promoting a culture of safety in the centers and also help to identify the system failures and develop local measures. In fact, we think that probably the more important points to report are in local centers. After the reports recorded at these local points and sent to the national level, permits us to share lessons with other people and in this way prevent similar incidents elsewhere. Of course, the reporting to the national programs permit the development of solutions that require action at the national level. The Spanish medication error reporting system was launched in the year 2000 with the same characteristics as the American ISTP reporting system. It is a voluntary and independent system whose objective is to learn effectively from failures. Nowadays, it is supported by the Spanish Ministry of Health through the patient safety strategy and collaborate with the Spanish Ministry of Health through the Spanish Medication Agency and the Spanish Pharmacovigilance System. The majority of the reports that we receive are made using a web-based reporting form and also through an electronic computer application that we develop in order that implement the reporting in local healthcare institutions. We receive sometimes other reports directly by email or telephone. The notification through the web-based reporting form can be done anonymously by any practitioner from any setting, and it uses a structured format, for us very important, based on a standardized classification for medication errors. This report form also has a free test field where the reporters can write a narrative description of the error, which is also very important for us because this narrative description provides us all the details that sometimes we need to understand perfectly the causes of the error, and in these ways we can develop the appropriate solutions. We also receive reports through an electronic computer application. This electronic computer application is pretty similar to the MedMars reporting form that Elizabeth Swain presented previously in this workshop. These electronic applications are designed to develop, to aid the healthcare organization to implement their own reporting system at local level. And for this reason, this electronic application allows institutions to report, analyze, and track their medication error data. In this case, the reporting to the National Center is carried out by the professional responsible for medication safety in each healthcare institution. It uses also a structured format, for us very important, based on a standardized classification of medication errors. And in this way, it is possible to aggregate correctly the information, and also it is possible that both the institution at local level and the national reporting program can understand perfectly and analyze all the data. In the experience or ISTP Spain, the classification is the foundation of the detection, analysis, and recording of medication errors. In our experience, it's very important that we have available a medication error classification system, because it's the only way in that we can gather correctly the information, and also we can analyze and recording this information. The classification, of course, starts the process of categorizing the data and developing solutions, but also the event classification affects the process of detecting medication errors, because this phase, the detecting, is very sensitive to the way in that the events are defined and also classified. For this reason, it's important to have this, this medication error classification available. And in fact, this determines both the availability of information as also the ability to learn for this information in the reporting system. As an example of the importance of this of the classification in order to analyze and record perfectly medication errors, ISTP Spain updated the National Coordinating Council Medication Error Reporting Program classification for the use in Spain in the year 2001, and we adapted this classification in the year 2008. When we made this new updated, we include and consider a new process in the medication use system, the transition of care, and from that point, we, the reporters report a lot of medication error related with the transition of care, and in this way we can also evaluate perfectly the reconciliation errors that previously went undetected. But in our opinion, the medication error analysis is also very important, that was carried out by experts that understand the practice of the medication use system, because it is really very important that the person that gather the information of medication errors know how to interpret the information and also how to develop the appropriate solution. In terms of medication safety, this implies that the analysis of the medication errors must be done by experts that know in detail the procedures and the practices of the medication use system. As an example, I would like to mention medication errors that we received very recently. related to cabazitaxel, a new chemotherapy agent that is used in the treatment of metastatic prostate cancer. We receive at the ISTP Spain reporting system an error without harm, but this error describes a preparation error that led to overdosing and a moment when this drug was starting to be used in Spain. Well, after carry out the analysis of the incident, we realized that the problem of these medication errors stem of the significant overfilling that has both the vials of the concentrate of the cabazitaxel and also the vials of the diluent. But the question that I want to translate to us is that we realized at that point that the more important thing that we had to do at this moment was to disseminate as quickly as possible this information to all the Spanish hospitals that were using or were planned to use this medication, because it was the way in that hospital pharmacies can configure correctly the computer's program that they use to the chemotherapy preparation. After that, usually the summary of product characteristics are not reviewed by the hospital pharmacies. It's just before we start to use the product. In our opinion, also, they need to know in detail the practices of the medication use system is even more important if we consider that the majority of the reports that we receive at the reporting medication error program are practice-related errors, not product-related errors as the cabazitaxel case. This aspect, in our opinion, has to be considered related with the implementation of the new pharmacovigilance directive. And in our opinion, it's also very important to consider that the majority of the reports that we receive in the medication error reporting system are medication errors without harm. In this graph, you can see in the percentage of medication errors with harm that we collected at the ISTP Spain reporting program in the last 5 years. As you can see, we receive between 6 to 7% of the errors that are medication errors with harm. And also it's important that you appreciate that only about 3% of the medication errors that we receive are medication errors with harm that are also product-related errors. So in other words, medication errors that, in our opinion, impact the risk-benefit balance of the medicinal products involved. Well, the more important function of a reporting system is to use the information gathered to develop recommendations to prevent recurrence of the similar errors. I would like to mention that at the ISTP Spain, we maintain a complete database with all the named drug name pairs that are involved in medication errors that we are collected in the medication error reporting system. We update this database along with recommendation each every 6 months, and in our opinion, this is very useful for the healthcare organization in order that they can review periodically the localized and unalike medication that they are been using. We also publish bulletins with the medication drug problems that we detected through the National Medication Error Reporting Program. These bulletins are written with a case report with medication errors that we receive in the National Medication Error Reporting Program, and we also write the recommendation to avoid that these medication errors can reoccur. These bulletins are distributed through the patient Spanish medication to the patient safety strategy of the Ministry of Health, and also through our web page. In some occasion, we also publish alert when we had received medication errors involved in serious injuries, or for example, related with new hazard that in our opinion was very significant. We also publish safe medication practices and recommendations through other kind of publication and documents directed always to practitioner and healthcare organization. Well, in the opinion of the ISTP Spain, it is really very important to coordinate the efforts to improve patient safety. And for this reason, we maintain a collaboration with the Spanish Medication Agency to work in the prevention of medication errors. We established an agreement in the year 2001, and from then, since the year 2001, we send medication error report without and with her already filtered and analyzed. I like to highlight this, already filtered and analyzed with proposal for solution about all the errors related to labeling and packaging, naming, product information, and other issues related with the agency competencies. Also, since the year 2010, in the framework of the new pharmacovigilance directive, we send also all the rest of medication error report collected resulting in adverse drug reaction. In this slide, you can see an example of this collaboration between the ISTP Spain and the Spanish Medication Agency. This sample is related with a product, sodium chloride of 20%, that is used in Spain to be administered directly into the hydatid cyst in the course of the surgery intervention. We received in September 2009 two reports of medication errors that result in severe injury due to the administration of this solution by intravenous route. After analyzing these incidents, we discovered that the underlying cause of this error was the similar appearance that has this solution to other fluid solutions that are used for use through the intravenous route, and in this cause has led to the confusion of the sodium chloride of 20% with the sodium chloride of 2%. We sent to the Spanish Medication Agency this report with the suggestion about changing the appearance of the product and changes the label and the summary of product characteristics. And the Spanish pharmacovigilance system studied this report along others that they have received and urged the pharmaceutical company to modify the label, product information, and leaflet, and to send a dear healthcare professional letter. In our opinion, this collaborative effort with the Spanish Medication Agency and the Spanish pharmacovigilance system has been very beneficial for improved patient safety in Spain, because throughout this collaboratory work, we have obtained numerous changes in the packaging and labeling of products that have been involved in medication errors in Spain. In this slide, there are some recent changes in packaging and labeling. In some occasions, also, the reports that the ISTP Spain had sent to the Spanish pharmacovigilance system has resulted in the issue of warnings to advert the healthcare professional about the risk of the medication and also to provide recommendations for prevention. Here are two alerts related with the erroneous doses of oral methotrexate or colchicine overdoses that were issued by the Spanish pharmacovigilance system. Well, in the opinion of the ISTP Spain, it's also very important, extremely important, to work in collaboration, to coordinate the effort with all the countries over the world to improve medication safety, because medication safety speaks an universal language. For that reason, we promote the constitution of the International Medication Safety Network. This is a network of safe medication practice centers that was established actually in Salamanca in the year 2006. The objective of this network is to promote and reinforce the cooperation between the centers and also to support and facilitate the transfer of information about cases of error and safe medication practices, very important, between all the participating countries. In our opinion, also, this exchange of information is very important because help us to identify new problems that appear around the world. And also it's very important for us because it permits to share and discuss the solution at international level. As we are in the European Medication Agency, I would like to show an example of this collaboration between the International Medication Safety Network that result with the participation of the European Medication Agency in one change in the label and summary and product information of eribulin, a chemotherapy agent used for the metastatic breast cancer. In December 2011, several European members of the International Medication Safety Network received in their reporting program error that describing preparation errors related to the expression of the strain in the label and the summary product characteristic of this product. We exchange information related with this problem through our web, and we realized that the problem was also in the European countries, not in the USA, because in the pivotal trial, the dose was expressed as SAL, as eribulin mesylate, and this is the way in that it was expressed also in the US and in other countries. But in Europe, the strain was expressed as eribulin base. And this is according to the European guidelines that, in our opinion, are correct. But the problem is that the label and the summary and product information include also a sentence very confusing that states each 2 milliliters vial contains 0.88 milligrams of eribulin in the form of mesylate. So this can lead to the pharmacies that are in charge of the preparation of this medication that the product contains eribulin mesylate instead of eribulin base. And this can lead to prepare a dose bigger than the dose protected. In January 2012, we sent a letter to the ENA proposing a change in the expression. Unfortunately, nowadays, this change is already done. Finally, I would like to conclude with some message that, more than conclusion, it reflects the opinions of ISTP Spain about the implementation and the new European Pharmacovigilance Directive. Well, we think that medication safety organizations are doing very useful work towards enhancing patient safety during a lot of years. The new Pharmacovigilance Directive should help to reinforce this work and facilitate the application of lessons learned in order to make medication use system continually safer for patients. We think also that collaboration between medication safety organization and national pharmacovigilance system is possible and is necessary. In fact, we have shown that it is possible to work in a collaboratory way, and working together allows for appropriate and timely responses that will resolve safety issues as soon as they are detected. We think also that to fulfill the requirements of the new pharmacovigilance legislation, it would be practical to establish homogeneous criteria for the process of sharing information between medication safety and pharmacovigilance system. The information related with product-related errors should be sufficiently detailed as they concern to the core competencies of the National Medicine Agency. But we think that the change of practice-related errors should be addressed with medication safety organization. It would be also convenient to establish cooperation mechanisms for the development and implementation of solutions, because we must never forget that merely collecting data contributes little to patient safety advancement. Finally, I would like to end this presentation with a phrase of the Salamanca Declaration to promote safe medication practices globally that invites you, as the new Pharmacovigilance Directive, to work together to improve medication safety. I take this opportunity to invite you also to visit the University of Salamanca. Thank you very much for your opinion.